Welcome to the George Rockall-Schmidt Show, the only podcast on the internet that isn't afraid to say, How are you doing, Damien?
There
were like 4 people left. One of our 5 listeners did write in, a guy called Roger, and he said,
Fuck
Dear Damien and George, fuck off. Dear Damien and George, I am getting married in 3 months' time, and I wanted some advice from you guys as you have the best marriage I know. Well, Roger, marriage is fine, just don't live together.
Yeah.
Basically.
And the times that you do, regular beatings.
Yeah, I mean, by times, you mean like stay over for a night.
On a sort of bi-monthly basis, yeah.
Put the hand on the shoulder and like, come on, get up, it's time for my regular beating.
Yeah, you insist on your own personal beating. No, we're not saying that you should engage in the violence. You should be the recipient.
Oh no, no one should hit. You shouldn't touch each other. That's the secret to a successful marriage. And then you should punch yourself in the face, both of you, in front of each other. So, Damien, I noticed that last week we didn't talk that much about video games.
I think that is probably to our benefit. At least it was then. You know, I think it's going to be incredibly painful now because we're going to talk about video games.
Video games, video games, video games, games, video games, video games, video games, games.
Well, I guess we're 2.5 minutes in. I think we should probably just wrap it up.
Well, I tell you what, I think we could wrap it up here, and I think we would be on par with last week with how much time we spent on topic.
Are you saying that we'll never attain the Boisterous Brothers high standard, not that it was the Boisterous Brothers, but the high standard that we set with the Flubber video podcast? Because I don't think we even mentioned Flubber in that. Or I think I said Flubber, and then it was just like, yes, let's talk about dildos.
What could one do with Flubber? They could fuck it. Aha. And there we go, over the falls there.
I think actually our conclusion was more like, there's no way that Flubber would exist without people constantly fucking it. Obviously. And, seriously, that's probably true. I mean, I think that our discussion was well warranted, assuming that we kept on talking about fucking it and not like Ralph Ineson or something. Well, I only remember that we talked about him because that's the thumbnail. So I mean, that's no guarantee.
Of course. Oh, didn't you have a cold or something? Is that right? You just sounded like shit.
At one time, yes, I sounded like shit. And we just talked about The Office. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, and I did my Ralph Ineson impression.
The lovely bits.
Oh dear.
Oi, our lass there. I know you think that like she's a good Christian, Ben, and that,
But she's a fucking witch.
bloody good show, Ralph. No, I mean that. I think he was good in The Witch. Sorry, and I apologise for anything I said about Matt Berry. I don't know anything about Matt Berry, but it seems to me that everything he's ever done, either the casting director or the director just said, "Do it like the last thing you did."
Yeah, I think that is unfortunately fair to say.
Do Matt Berry, you do him well.
Volcanicity.
My birds. Birds!
This is going to be the next hour, isn't it? We've already cracked it. Superb. Well, we don't have to worry about content so much because like, these guys don't realise that we do.
Oh yeah, because I'm definitely worried about content, Damien. Absolutely.
Oh well, we do. We do have these meetings. Off mic, beg your pardon.
Damien walks into this enormous room, and then it's like a 50-foot hologram of me sat on a throne.
It was a very auspicious morning when I opened the front door and there was just bundles of cash. And I thought, oh, right, well, this is it. I'm fucking made. And it just came with this note that said, don't even fucking think about it. I'm retrofitting your home. Then the workmen came in, fucking hell, all these projectors, knocking down fucking walls.
Fucking walls. So
walls.
Do you still play video games?
Yeah, I do. I got a Switch for Christmas. I started playing again.
Okay.
Nothing.
I've never played Switch. The most interesting thing about Switch to me is that the cartridges taste like shit. Apparently, have you heard that?
They taste of shit.
If you get a Switch cartridge right now and give it a lick.
Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on. That's it. I've just got the case.
Okay. So the cartridge that you actually put into the Switch.
Yes.
Just taste it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, hang on. Let me just put that to one side.
What does it taste like?
I can't contest that tasted like shat.
Did it? It tasted like old curry. Okay, yeah, that's the only thing I really know about the Switch, other than it has Skyrim.
Yes, it has Scrim.
Which I'm definitely interested in playing at a bus stop.
Yeah, that is how they kind of advertised it, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
You know how you're really pathetic at home? You can be pathetic at the bus stop too.
I haven't bought a console or anything in absolutely years. I think the last one I bought was the PlayStation 3, and I've played games all my life. The only thing that's changed for me is I don't get any enjoyment out of them. or indeed anything ever anymore. I find it much harder than I did when I was a kid to appreciate a video game. I was playing a game the other day called Sniper Elite 4. Do you remember I showed you Sniper Elite 2?
Yes, that's the one where you can shoot people in the nards and get X-ray vision.
Yeah,
and
Sniper Elite 4 is that, but slightly less clipping. I don't know. It's exactly the same game. And if you look on Steam and you look on reviews, people love it. People think it's great, and I think it's the most boring thing I've ever played. But I can see how it's a good game. I can see that it's well made. There's no problems with it at all. Most games I just find very tedious.
Played Skyrim quite a lot. I got it because naturally I got a copy of that with the Switch to see how that would work out. I really enjoyed the technology when I got it, because I saw.
Oh, yeah? You're not scared of it?
No,
Technology.
Oh my God.
Where can I find that?
So is it any wonder people are afraid of technology?
Technology!
I've got it. It came up. It was the second search, and not unsurprisingly, right? It's a clip from 10 years ago, and someone has updated it with from 1 year ago. Afraid of technology for 1 hour.
Obviously, Nyan Cat. That's the one you want to do, right? That's the one to sit through. If you can sit through that, that's like a religious experience, surely.
Bollocks, because I remember when you had the website, and it would just play, ad nauseum forever, and it would give you kind of a readout of how long you've been fucking listening to it. But that's not the one. The one that you have to check, the one that really, tests your metal, shows you what you're made of, is Ridley Diddley. Do you remember that?
Is there a 10 hours of that? We should make that.
No, there's just a website. I think you just put in ridleydiddley.com. It's like, how long can you Ridley Diddley?
Ridley Diddley. Okay. Did you mean Ridley Diddley? Yes, I did mean Ridley Diddley. I mean, I found Ridley Diddley, but I don't have a web... ridleydiddley.com. No information is available for this page. Learn why. Oh my God, my Adobe Flash player is out of date. Okay.
Oh, is it that fucking old?
Oh, fuck that then. I don't want to update anything to watch Ridley Diddley.
Well, what about the
Ridley Diddley 10-hour challenge?
8,267 people. Were man enough?
Yeah, but they didn't watch it for 10 hours.
You know that there's going to be some fucker on the spectrum who went for it start to finish.
No, they watched it for about 2 minutes, and then the person they were waiting to come into the room came into the room and went, Clive, oh, you're mad.
Son, get a job.
His son's only 11.
I was about to say, yeah.
So do you have a similar thing where you don't really get the same enjoyment you did when you were a kid from games? Because when I was a kid, I certain computer games I would play, and I would just think that they were the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I remember stuff like Resident Evil and like horror survival games. Mm-hmm. I get really worked up. Not even playing them. I could watch people playing. Like all the jump scares and stuff would just make me go fucking wild. I'd have this huge kind of emotional response to it, and it'd be exhilarating. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Yes.
But I find myself playing stuff invariably like RPGs and stuff like that. So I was playing Skyrim again for at the beginning of this year, and then there was Breath of the Wild as well. That's not.
That's still right. I've heard that's really good.
It was good. It's very beautiful to look at, but a lot of what the kind of gameplay entailed was just collecting stuff. And I find with there's a lot of games that they just kind of focus on just grinding
yeah.
all the time. Years ago, there was an article, and I can't remember where it is. I couldn't really cite it accurately at all. But it was some guy who worked in game programming at Microsoft. So he cited a study and where these scientists were observing the behavior of rats. And they rigged a system where a rat would pull a lever and get a treat. It started out that every time the rat would pull a lever, it was guaranteed a treat at all times and stuff like that. And they found that if the rat knew it was there, it would only do it whenever it was hungry. They found that if they randomized whenever the treat would fall, that the rat would just sit there all fucking day, just pressing the fucking buttons. But this guy who worked for Microsoft saying, yeah, we were looking at that, and that's how we designed this, and this. And when I find myself collecting things habitually, I think of that, and it's like, damn, I do feel like a fucking hamster running through a fucking wheel. And it'll be a very kind of austere, polished one. But yeah, no, I am just finding myself, collecting stuff, and then just going into the menus, organizing the menus into this inventory and all that kind of stuff, and not really doing anything.
With like Fallout, what I was doing was I was trying to build up my character so I could unlock certain traits or skills or whatever they're called, so I could become better at upgrading my gun because I wanted a certain gun. But actually, once I had that gun, the game wasn't any better. It wasn't any fun. Actually, it was kind of worse because it was just easy. Mm-hmm. The fun bit was trying to get there.
You start with nothing, and you gather resources, and you pool them, and you apply them to something, and in turn you use that to gather more and build this fucking thing. So, if only a lot of these people could really apply that to the real world.
Well, no, but I think the same when I'm doing it. I haven't played Minecraft for years, but I'm sure. Well, I've never really got that into Minecraft, but there must be things like Minecraft that I've played, and at the end I've thought, oh man, what a waste of time. To be honest.
A glowing endorsement.
Listen, I don't think video games are a waste of time or anything. I think, video games sometimes it's the only way I can kind of relax because, I can't always just switch my brain off. Sometimes I need to occupy myself, but not occupy myself with something that is actually anxiety-inducing. Mm-hmm. It's quite nice to play a game where you find yourself worried about what's happening in the game. Like, oh, fuck, well, I bet I've got to get these resources right now or whatever. It's really quite fun to feel like that and then think, oh, I was worried about that and not about my shit life.
But no, I entirely agree. I mean, it sounds like I'm shitting on games that have this kind of grind in them, but I jump into them, I'm sure, for the same reasons that a lot of other people do. I imagine of our age, right? I spend like fucking 50, 60 hours a week doing a job that I'm not particularly fucking on board with. So, but things like that are something that can easily, like just as you were saying, that can immediately switch you.
I'm not particularly on board with it. Goes to management to complain about things, is the only person that the management trusts is the fucking literal photo poster boy of the entire organisation.
Not the entire organisation. It's a big restaurant group, all right? I'm just the poster boy for one of the restaurants, all right? That's
okay,
fine.
All right, okay. I'm sorry, continue.
I didn't do anything about the fucking ass-blasting Evian bottle, by the way.
Or the toilet roll on the floor, didn't they? Do you know what you should do? You should just fill the fucking toilets with cement. You should just bring your own bottle in. Bring like 5 bottles in, and they're all exactly the same, and just put a little note on it that says, one of these bottles contains hydrochloric acid. It's odorless. Do you want to fucking risk it?
That would be a very interesting experiment because, I don't know what these people are thinking, as we discussed at length a few weeks back. But maybe they just kind of see it and they have like an instinctive response. So maybe it's...
You were saying that you could find these people one day, it's their day off, they're at a family wedding, you could walk into the wedding and then you could just dangle an Evian bottle in front of them and then immediately they'll just shit themselves.
No, well, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I could try leaving a couple out in the hallway, and maybe they have almost like a Pavlovian response. They see it, and they start rumbling. But these guys, they're they don't have much wherewithal. So maybe they'll see it in the middle of the corridor or something like that, and they'll just drop trowel and they'll just start right there. Maybe. Or if I was thinking, maybe you get like 20 bottles in the gents' changing room and toilet. If they walk in and they see all these bottles, all stood up, all full of water, all ready to go, no caps on, just pick up, squeeze. They see this. Do they overload? Are they overcome with some kind of anxiety? They don't know which way to go. They find themselves trapped in the middle of them, just spinning around, not knowing which bottle to fucking shove between their cheeks.
Is that what they do?
Furiously.
It's not. They're not just cleaning their ass. It's an enema as well.
Well, that's what I told you. Yeah, because they started with just like regular bottles, which I imagine they would just pour from the top of their cheeks downwards, right? I don't know, but I saw after a while.
Now you've got to get your fingertips in there.
Yeah, well, that's it. Because I saw after a while they start using the sport bottles with that, like the sport nipple or whatever you want to call it.
The sport nipple, yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to you squeeze as you suck, as you drink,
as you bang, as you blow. It's propulsion.
Well, these guys, had enough logic to realize they needed more pressure, so they dialed that in.
Do you remember a game called Theme Hospital?
I do. Well, fucking fantastic segue.
Once you get into, well, it is a fantastic segue, actually.
No,
see you next week.
I was being thoroughly earnest, you bastard.
Because all I remember from Theme Hospital, but once you get once you get a few levels into Theme Hospital and your hospital is crowded, all you can hear is people taking a dump. Like really kind of groaning, and
I got a lot of people cubing it, just like. Bleh.
There's a remake of Theme Hospital that's just come out called 2 Point Hospital.
2 Point Hospital.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And it's from some people who made Theme Hospital, and I've got it. It came out a few days ago. It's pretty good. It's one of the only games I've ever bought when it came out. It doesn't have the same sort of satisfaction. It doesn't give me the same satisfaction as Theme Hospital did when I was 8. It's still the fucking same, isn't it? It's all the same. Yeah, I'm not saying it's all shit. I'm just saying that
I can't enjoy it. That's what I'm saying. I can't enjoy anything.
I'm saying I can't enjoy it. I'm saying once you start to recognize it, it is kind of hard to enjoy. This is going to end up with me saying like I'm just going to learn the oboe, isn't it? I've never learned a musical instrument, therefore I will learn the fucking oboe.
And each week we have, the regular updates, a little recital, see how you're doing.
Oh, it's terrible.
I never get any better. Yeah, I only practice 1 hour a week, and that's when we record. And
my mentor is Warren Buffett, and he plays the banjo and nothing else, and he doesn't really enjoy playing it.
He's a terrible fucking teacher. He's got no patience for the shit that I'm doing.
And banjo to oboe doesn't really transmute.
Not at all. But I've got him at my behest. I'm very wealthy, and I essentially own him now. He signed something that he did not mean to sign. He sits there chained up. He transcribes his stuff.
All those shares that people think he owns, bullshit. They're penny shares. He's got a lot of penny shares. If Warren Buffett cashed everything in, he's got like 90 grand. All right?
But unfortunately, he's not allowed to reach a phone.
That's going to get him 3 months in a dog shit old people's home.
And at least I feed him crumpets.
One of those old people's homes where they look at the roster and they say, well, we're full, we need to make some room. Well, we'll just turn the heating off for the night.
Gather them up, put them all in one room.
Bring
There's
out
enough
your
body
dad.
heat there.
So yeah, the Switch, is it the same
as what a Game Boy?
Yeah,
in essence, I guess it's just more kind of advanced. I was very surprised at just how well it's actually switches basically when you go from handheld to the your full screen TV jobber, and it's actually instant and it is actually smooth. Like I saw the ads and I thought it was very dubious. I didn't,
especially when the little white text comes up at the bottom and it says "sequence shortened for commercial."
Yeah, it was. You see that a lot. Do not expect it.
Do not expect it to work like we're showing you. What are you? You entitled pieces of shit? Gamers, fucking misogynists, bastards. Whereas, to be honest with you, I think if I buy something, if I buy a Switch and I expect it to, when I dock it, to immediately turn onto the TV, if I've been shown that and it takes 5-6 seconds to switch between the Switch dock and the TV, I think I am perfectly within my fucking rights to start burning down GameStops. All right, because I don't have time to be waiting for that. I've got to be doing what I'm doing.
Okay, well, tell you what, I'm gonna spring for a Switch for Christmas as a Christmas gift, just so that I can be the one that fucking lights the fuse on the eventual crime spree.
Just get me the nunchucks and don't tell me what they're for.
No, I'll get it, but what I'll do is I'll unbox it. I'll just pour orange juice over it, put it back in, and send it off to you. There we go.
Yeah, because you know that I'll take it to the store, and the first thing they'll ask me, like,
why is it covered in jizz?
The first thing they'll ask me is, have you been drinking orange juice? And you know how that fucking makes me crazy when people say that. Have you been drinking orange juice? It's, no, actually, it's
I'm obviously
it's Apple and Alphonse. Cannot you see the fucking anger in my eyes? And then I'll put both my hands on this person's head, just the fingertips, so it doesn't look too aggressive, and people will be looking like, what's he doing? What's this guy doing? Is he gonna put his palms on this guy's head, or just the fingertips? Because the palms, that's when things start to get aggressive. If he puts the palms on the GameStop employee's head, that's when the GameStop employee is officially allowed to retaliate. But just the fingertips, no one knows. It's not written.
Well, it depends.
It's not in our law. And then I'll leave, and they'll just see these fingertip marks in this guy's head.
Well, there has to be some kind of statute, right? If you with the palm, if it happens over a certain period of time, if it's a fraction of a second, yes, that is aggressive. Obviously, if you use the palm, you're going to be distributing a lot more force from your arm. It's going to be a lot more painful. But if you approach very slowly and contact is gentle, and you simply hold it there.
Oh, you mean if I let the hairs on my palm touch him first?
Yes, yeah. As long as he's very much aware of the situation, he's got time to brace. Or you could really, really drag it out, really glare. Obviously you've got a little bit of the psychological angle there, but I think without that physical aggression, I think you might be able to get away with that. You could probably just hold it there for like an hour, and you can just be like foaming at the mouth like you're rabid. Really, really unsettle this person, right? It happens after a while. He takes a step back, but as soon as he does, you lurch forward, and it gets to a point where his back is against the wall. He's not like forced against it, but he knows that there's no point stepping a step back because he wants that tiny little bit of leeway because he will essentially pin him.
He thinks that maybe he can get up from his position. He can straighten his back. Maybe
he's on the floor now. He's on the floor.
He can escape my fingertips, but no. Well, before the floor, if he's trying to do any kind of subtle moves, it doesn't matter. I'm wearing platform heels, so my fingertips can get anywhere his head can be. Anywhere.
Go Gadget spring boots. Oh yes, Damien, I meant to mention. It does feel like the other employees at the GameStop should be stopping me, but they're not. Yeah, they should say something, but rather than be such apathetic and idle bystanders, it's almost. I mean, maybe you luck out and you go for the employee that no one actually likes, no one's fond of. He fancies himself as a bit of a joker. He's a bit pervy. He always oversteps his bounds.
You know what it is, don't you? I mean, yes, you're on the right lines. He's a bit of a pervert and everything, but you know why they won't fuck with me is because it's Jeffrey Tambor and Jim Davidson, and they have to do what another person with a J sound at the beginning of their name does. They have to go along with it, right?
Okay.
So they're there. They don't want to. What I'm doing, it's weird. The whole fingertip thing. No. But what can they do?
It's a secret.
Jim Davidson's got a rag over here. Jim Davidson, he works in a GameStop, but he looks like he should be polishing a bar. Is how I imagine. He's got a waistcoat, definitely. Jim Davidson and Jeffrey Tambor are fighting over the rag,
and they're stretching it beyond all recognition.
Do you have anything like Mario on your Switch?
Yes, I've got Mario.
Is it good?
Is it? Yeah, I suppose it is.
Is it? Is it?
It's one of those things. It's incredibly polished, but it's
yeah. Is it? I mean, I remember the Super Mario Brothers 2 on Game Boy. I remember, honestly, I remember that being very polished. I know surely the graphics are, far more, well, not only mediocre, but monochrome. but it ran perfectly. There were never any problems. There were never any pauses between screens or anything. It just played really well, and I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is they really got the play right, and then they've just sold it again and again. Especially Worms. Thinking about it, Worms they've only made worse though.
Yeah.
People are going to know what I'm talking about if I say Worms. Is it that well known?
Well, they've if they're listening to it there in front of a computer, they can take like 10 seconds. They'll just punch in.
People have
Worms
things called
Google.
phones now. Do you know how long it would take to type Worms into an iPhone? Like 2 minutes.
Well, don't forget you've got Siri as well, and you can speak to the
Worms!
phone.
Siri! Worms! Oh, sorry,
Which
Mrs.
will also
Melville.
take...
Worms! She works faster the louder you speak, no? No, you got me saying no, without a shadow of a doubt.
Bloody hellfire.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
They had one game that no one ever played on. Kind of like Mario, it looked pretty fucking... pretty backward, I guess, if you're coming to it from later titles. But then the game afterwards, Worms 2, they just got it right. They just did it right, and Worms 2 is the best game in all of the Worms series. And I guess kind of like the Super Mario Brothers 2, that's kind of... I don't think Mario's got worse or anything, but I think they've just kept that standard.
Mm-hmm. I'd say one thing that kind of got me with this latest Mario thing is to say, like, everything controls perfect is wonderful. It's very smooth, very, very slick, but it's almost too smooth. Everything about the play and what you do happens so quickly in such quick succession. There's kind of like no savoring what you're doing at all. It's almost
Right.
You are kind of really hurried through this game very quickly. For me personally, I kind of would have liked it to take a little bit longer, so I kind of engaged with it a little bit more. But it was just kind of over so bloody quickly.
Oh, well, maybe you were just awesome at it.
No,
Maybe Damien's mole fingers really paid off. Like you can't even see it, but like to watch it, it's like someone's hands turning into the hands of the thing. They like all the joints go the wrong way, and then suddenly there are these extra joints, and it's just there's only 2 buttons, but every finger's touching every button. It's amazing.
It's bullshit. That's not what happens at all. My hands simply melt into this amorphous blob which consumes the controllers. You can't see
As your
anything.
mouth
That's...
slowly opens and a slightly ajar mouth turns into a gape, and slowly but surely you go from 5 blinks a minute to half a blink a minute.
Exactly that. Yes. Yeah. You can't see any kind of digital precision or anything like that. It's just I simply kind of merge with it, and it just kind of runs itself after that point,
That kind
as
of is
if by
yeah.
will of my mind.
That is what happens, isn't it? No, I mean once you get into a game, it is like merging with it. I mean, you do become,
Souls entwine.
Yeah, yes, you do. You fall in love with the game. That's what happens, and then you have a game baby.
And that's
Game
how...
Babies is how GameStop is going to stop itself from becoming bankrupt. This new Netflix Game Babies.
Oh, that's right, because they don't. That's how they make games. They don't have. I know it's coding and stuff like that. They don't simply reproduce it or anything like that. Not digitally. They ship a few kind of. They have a finite number of master copies which they sent
Which they
to these
breed.
outlets, and they have there's a certain collective of GameStop employees you don't see. They work in the back who are essentially just like brood sows, and these are the guys that play these games. Invariably, mentally fuck them and make the game babies. Each game baby obviously grows up and becomes its own, another unit, and a unit potential for sale.
Right, and that's why you've got Call of Duty Black Ops, because originally it was just Call of Duty 4, and it had sex with Resident Evil 5.
No. It's not like dogs. It's not you don't do crossbreeding. Fuck that.
Oh, okay.
No.
I see. I'm sorry.
Each franchise stays exactly the same. It does not fucking merge with anything else other than the employees themselves. That's it. Okay.
Right, and it will keep on going like that until the people at the top of EA et al. Until they do have $100 million in the bank each. Then they'll all shoot each other and everything will be fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's how games are born.
And yes, and you know, as a tidy kind of finish, my Switch doesn't work anymore because
because I spilled fucking jizz on it. I mean orange juice.
You stole my fucking punchline, you piece of shit.
Oh really? Oh, sorry. Really?
That's fine. That's fine.
No,
That's
do it
fine.
again.
We're done. No. It's better like this. It's better like this. It's better like this.
Give it a go.
Give it a go. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's done. I'm in a bad mood. I can't do this.
All right.
So that's
what about? I was going to say, what about Breath of the Wild? Did you get so into it kind of started to take up your time?
Oh yeah, no, I think I'm probably sunk about 80 hours into it, something like that. And I think
I don't think that's. I mean, obviously that's a lot, but that's over quite a long period of time, right? I mean, I know how much you work, and
yeah, but
I know that you weren't playing, 6 hours a day.
Well, that's it. You know, when I was really into it, that's what would happen. And obviously, I still had that amount of work going on. But I would say, over the course of a couple of months, I'd still managed to find time to kind of rack that right the fuck up. It came at the expense of doing other
Maybe
things.
if I close my eyes and really concentrate, I can just go to sleep and never wake up. No, not out of any sort of despair. I'm perfectly fine. I'm just bored.
I find I meditate very, very acutely, and I find perfect contentment, and with that there is no.
With that, I am free. Bang. But what I was going to say was, even when I'm really into a game or not, I do find that sometimes you have the long session or whatever, or you have a day off and you spend hours on a game. I do find myself thinking, oh, I've wasted my time. Because yes, reading a book, what does that do? It's just a pastime, and there's plenty of dog shit books out there, but I don't know, I just feel way less guilty.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
I'm not saying that's right, but
yeah, but I felt that pang of guilt.
I feel like with even with watching kind of shit movies on Netflix or something like that, I feel with that, when I watch a shit movie, I feel like I've probably learned something. Maybe not a lot, because the same sort of, it's the same shit. But I feel like, oh well, I've learned something maybe. And I guess with a book, I maybe feel the same. And I'm not sure if I have, but I feel that. And I'm sure I learn things from games. I'm sure some games have got me thinking about things, in a helpful way and things like that. But I don't know.
I think when it comes to shit movies, you can quite happily sit down for 80 minutes or 80, 90 minutes, and that's that. It can be painful, but you're not going to lock yourself into watching it for 45 hours or something like that. Or something of the same ilk, or doing it for 6 hours a fucking day. No, I mean,
right, and there
takes all strokes, but not me.
And there is that with games, isn't there? Even with a bad one, you end up playing for longer than you want because you're waiting for it to deliver. Waiting for it to deliver that sweet, sweet dopamine. Well, okay. Well, any final thoughts?
No, I think that's it. I think that could that puts a nice little bow on our discussion. What video games you'd like to see turned into movies?
Well, we'll save that for next week so we can keep on doing video games indefinitely.
I think by January we might actually cover it properly.
So thank you very much for listening. Have your dopamine hit now that it's over. Don't worry, it's over. This is the longest point you've got this week until the next episode is released, so fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean that in a good way. I remember I used to have a maths class, and it was the best time of the week because it was the longest time until the next maths class. Don't get me wrong, going in there was horrible, but once you got past the 30-minute mark and you thought, okay, well it's 28 minutes, but actually it's only 25 because the last 3 minutes are collecting the book. When you started to think that, it was yes, I'm getting euphoria. I fucking hate maths. All right, thanks very much. Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.